On this channel, we're always making fun of stupid band antics and people's terrible choices in music. I recently reacted to Watch Mojo's video, The 20 Best Modern Metal Bands, which was, for the most part, complete trash. We had a lot of fun mocking that video, but plenty of you asked me what my personal top 20 would be for current bands out there. I mean, if I'm gonna be making fun of some bands, I might as well be recommending some at the same time. It's only fair. And that's why I'm here today to count down my 20 best current metal bands. Some of these bands just started in the last 10 years, and some of them have been around longer than that. But the thing they all have in common here is that they are all still currently active and not in the twilight phase of their careers. These are all bands that are still currently kicking ass, and it's a great time for new fans to jump on board and ride that train so that you don't feel like you missed out like I did when I didn't watch Game of Thrones. These aren't necessarily bands that I think are changing the landscape of metal or doing some new groundbreaking thing. Some of them are just fucking awesome. Remember, this is my top 20 list, so that if I happen to not mention your favorite band on here, just remember that it is personal and I hate you and that band. So headbang the like button, stage dive onto the subscribe button, and windmill the video to your friends. And if you're a fan of my channel, consider becoming a member. Memberships are only 99 cents a month, and everyone really helps me toward my goal of building a life-size Godzilla to invade Canada. And now for my 20 best current metal bands. Number 20, Undeath. Grinding New York death metal that's a tribute to the slimy underground. Undeath are a straightforward, slamming, brutal death metal band, with their lyrical theme being around classic horror films. This is not cosmic death metal that's breaking the molds of space and time and challenging what your concept of being a human is. This is just badass grinding shit that's about gore and blood. You put it on while watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, play Mortal Kombat and throw beer bottles at each other, mosh in your living room while smoking a bong. That is the type of vibe that Undeath brings. I saw these guys at Milwaukee Metal Fest once, and they were a lot of fun. Straightforward death metal. Did not get the impression that they were trying too hard or took themselves too seriously in any way. They were just dudes who were having fun playing death metal. Number 19, Hellripper. Hellripper is one Scottish man's ode to the classic speed metal sounds of early Venom and Slayer. Hellripper is a one-man band formed by James McBain in 2014. The great thing about Hellripper is listening to them will make you feel like you're back in the 80s listening to heavy metal on a mixtape, yet the music is intense and refreshing enough to not feel like your standard local speed metal band that just plays the hits over and over. Hellripper sounds nostalgic yet exciting at the same time. It may not be groundbreaking, but in a sea of overproduced poppy sounding shit claiming to be metal, it is oh so satisfying. Number 18, Dynazty. Formed in 2007, Swedish melodic power metal group Dynazty have been blowing up, and while still growing in their careers, they already capture the sound and the feeling of a massive arena band. It's kinda like Hammerfall with a bit more bass and heaviness to it. All the songs are big crowd sing-alongs that will still have you breaking your neck to the heavy drums and guitars. They're a great daytime band. I got to see them on 70,000 Tons of Metal, and if you ever get the chance to see this band play on the top of a cruise ship, I highly recommend it. 2 thumbs up. Number 17, Gatecreeper. Some metal fans in other parts of the world might not even be aware that America still has a very strong underground death metal scene going at the moment, and one of the bands leading that charge is Gatecreeper. Straight brutal death metal, similar to a fresh take on Bolt Thrower. Gatecreeper's been everywhere. They've been touring a lot lately. The band are confident on stage, they impress without even trying to, and anytime they take the stage, even if it is opening for bigger bands, it is a guarantee of neck and back injuries in the crowd. Number 16, Orbit Culture. This band has been very hot lately. They've become the new metal darling of the underground, bordering on the mainstream scene. Orbit Culture is a melodic death metal band formed in Sweden in 2013. For those who don't know, all of the best melodic death metal comes from Sweden. Orbit Culture kind of sounds like a mix between In Flames and Insomnium, if James Hetfield was singing and could also do death metal. This band has been getting a lot of hype lately with their crushingly catchy death metal, and they're one of the few bands out there that remind me that newer generations of bands can still make interesting and awesome metal. Number 15, Frozen Soul. Straight from the frozen icy tundra of Texas comes death metal heavyweights Frozen Soul. This band is just fucking heavy, with a vocalist that sounds like a pissed off abominable snowman. This band's been really moving lately. They've been opening on some really big shows like the Amon Amarth Arena Tour, and they're often seen crushing many of the underground festivals. My favorite song of theirs, Invisible Tormentor, is so fucking crushing it will have you feel like you were hit by a cement truck. Invisible Tormentor. Badass fucking band, and a bunch of nerds. They always encourage their crowd to play Magic the Gathering right in the middle of the mosh pit. Number 14, Wolfheart. This Finnish band formed in 2013 has been putting out some of the best melodic death metal out there in recent years. They are 7 albums into their career, with their latest album, Draconian Darkness, being an absolute banger. Every single song on this one is badass. I grew up a huge fan of bands like Amon Amarth, Hypocrisy, and Dimmu Borgir, and Wolfheart perfectly matches that craving to keep that sound I grew up loving continuing into the modern day. Number 13, Beast in Black. I like my power metal with extra cheese, please. Beast in Black are a Finnish power metal band formed in 2015. If you're new to the metal world and you're trying to find new bands, just go to Finland. They're everywhere. Beast in Black add an interesting mix of 80s synth pop styles into their epic power metal sound, making their songs even catchier than power metal already is. But what really sparked my interest in this band is their album Dark Connection that came out a couple years ago. This is a synth power metal album. It's a heavy metal soundtrack to Blade Runner. Put it in the background while you're playing Cyberpunk and you'll feel like you're right in the middle of a dystopian technological shithole. It's a really catchy album exploring themes that power metal often doesn't usually touch on. Also, I saw these guys once opening for Nightwish, and they were a lot of fun. They have a lot of energy in a very pop group type of way. So if you're looking for a fun metal show where you can jump, headbang, and sing, Beast in Black has got you covered. Number 12, Gaerea. Do you like Sleep Token's imagery but wish their music wasn't boring as fuck? Well, may I present to you Gaerea, a post-black metal band from Portugal who will scratch that emotional, dark, but still heavy and extreme itch that you have. This is a band that can still hold on to softer, more emotional moments while keeping the music extreme and not diving into just sounding like a whining child. Almost kinda Agalosh sounding on their softer moments, actually. In a time where masked anonymous bands seem to be the hip new thing right now, I'd say Gaerea is one of the genuine best ones out there. Number 11, Scour. You all know Phil Anselmo as the vocalist for Pantera, the leaders of the groove metal movement, and you know his work with Down and those bands. But one thing you might not know is that he also does extreme metal. Phil can also do death metal and black metal vocals, and he does them really fucking well in Scour. I became aware of them when they released this music video for their song Infusorium, and holy fuck does it rip. They released their first full-length album Gold recently, and it is solid all the way through. Heavy, crushing, brutal black metal. Completely caught me by surprise. I did not know that Phil could do that. And this album is on my list for best of the entire year. Number 10, Bloodywood. New metal straight out of New Delhi, India. Bloodywood have been adding a unique mix to that sound we all grew up with. Picture Korn's music, but also featuring traditional Indian instruments. This band adds a very unique twist, using their country's culture as the theme of the band. This band's been really taken off lately. They've been on a bunch of major tours. They've actually already reached the US, playing pretty big shows. And that is due to their more mainstream sound compared to the other bands on this list. Bloodywood has two vocalists, one doing the metal screaming and more of the Indian traditional sounds, and the other one is rapping. And that's a little bit of a hard barrier for me. There's some moments of their songs I definitely like more than others. But for a band from India to get as big as they already are, and to be adding their unique spin on the new metal sound, I think is really impressive. I love when bands incorporate their country's culture into the music. It's fun and educational.
Never will I stop, never will I say die. I said never will I stop, never will I say. Never will I stop, never will I say die. I said never will I stop, never will I.
I have not gotten the chance to see this band live yet, but I'm sure that will change soon. Number 9, Ghoul. This is a band I actually grew up with. I think I first started listening to them in middle school. But they're definitely still active, so they fit for the list. Ghoul is a death metal / grindcore band with mixes of thrash, punk, surf, and whatever other influences they feel like, mixed together in a horror metal package. They're like if Gwar played death metal, kinda. And when the music is already badass, a fun stage show makes it even better. Ghoul are a band that will do gore grind, gurgles, and breakdowns, and then go right into a Dick Dale guitar solo. Their album Splatter Thrash back in the early 2000s was a big gateway for me into the underground metal scene. Mosh and break your neck and get sprayed in blood and watch robots and alien things fight each other on stage. Seriously, I love the shit out of Ghoul. Check out this band. Number 8, Power Trip.
The fire is one. Go.
Happy to say they count for the list as they're starting to come back now after the tragic passing of their vocalist Riley Gale. Power Trip quickly became the kings of this new revival of hardcore thrash from the Texas scene, quickly blowing up and taking the metal world by storm with the release of their album Executioner's Tax. Everybody knows that title track, everybody loves that song. While the band aren't really adding anything new to the genre, they're doing it in such a classic, badass, straightforward way that fans of the genre are drawn to respecting it. They're kind of like the Top Gun Maverick of hardcore. It's not exactly a groundbreaking discovery into how far metal can go, but it is just solid as fuck. Number 7, Jade. Atmospheric death metal is a sound that I did not know I needed in my life, but ever since I discovered this band Jade and their album Mysteries of a Flowery Dream, it has quickly become one of my new favorite things in life. Jade are epic death metal. You get the growls of something like Cannibal Corpse, with the riffs and atmosphere of the long drawn out atmospheric black metal bands. Death metal that's perfect to listen to on a long drive through the wilderness, and really adding to the atmosphere of their sound is their vocalist, who sounds like he's yelling from really far away. And since we're adding twists to death metal, number 6, Fleshgod Apocalypse. Italian symphonic death metal. This band sounds like you're listening to Incantation while you're at a Shakespearean play. The band combined the extreme brutal blast beats of death metal and symphonic keys that sound like an orchestra, upping the intensity. They have done some weird experimentation in the recent years. They've done some interesting covers that I don't fully understand, but they are a seriously intense time live. And their shows are one of the few places where you can do a wall of death to a beautiful piano playing in the background. Number 5, Powerwolf. This is a band I love referring to as Notre Dame metal. Epic, grandiose power metal with the theme of Catholic werewolves. I feel like these guys were probably sitting around watching Hunchback of Notre Dame and went, hey, we should start a band. But Powerwolf is really great. They've been huge for a long time in Germany, and they're just starting to make their way over to America now. In a genre that's completely oversaturated with dragons and fairies and mystical shit, it's really fun and refreshing to have a band playing these huge epic anthems that are about gargoyles and Catholic bishops riding in an army of crusading werewolves. It just is cool, you know? In a time when people are really wondering who the next headliners of metal are gonna be, I feel like Powerwolf is a really solid choice. If you like the look and theme of Ghost, but think their music is way too poppy, I'd recommend checking out Powerwolf. You might like it a lot more.
The Father and the Son came the peace of Sabaton, Terminator, traitor, half-fulfilled machine.
And speaking of bands to be future headliners at major festivals, number 4 is Sabaton. Swedish epic power metal that's been invading stages everywhere. Sabaton is entirely a war-themed power metal band. Take what you just heard from Powerwolf, but make it entirely about tanks and war and bullets. Sabaton's been around for a while now, but they only started really blowing up, I'd say, in the last 10 to 15 years. I got into this band around when their album Coat of Arms came out, and I remember thinking, oh, it'd be so cool if they could play with like a tank and all this cool stuff on stage. And now they do. Now Sabaton's drum set is a tank, and it's really cool to see how much they keep upping their live shows. They performed at Wacken, taking over both main stages at the same time, and they're about to embark on a tour with a massive orchestra playing with them. A lot of people like to hate on Sabaton, and I do not understand why. I can admit their last handful of albums have been pretty mid, but it seems like people like to mock them for being cheesy, and I just think, have you heard power metal before? How is a tank and singing about the trenches of war cheesier than the 5,000th song about saving a princess from a dragon? Sabaton is basically anthem arena metal. They play songs that get everyone singing along, and on top of the big stage show and the awesome epic music, all the members just seem like genuinely great guys too. I've never heard any controversy with this band. They always look like they are so thrilled to be on stage when they're performing. Plus, one of their new songs that just came out is about Genghis Khan, and I want more metal about the Khan Empire. Most of Sabaton's music focuses on World War II. If you have a history exam coming up, I'd recommend listening to their albums. It will definitely help. And it's cool to see how they've really blown up into this band that so many different generations of fans can see together. There's been pictures of families with a grandfather who was a war veteran and then a dad and their young kid going to Sabaton together. And that is pretty cool. That's what metal's all about. Number 3, Septicflesh. I fucking love this band, oh my god. Similar to Fleshgod Apocalypse, but a bit even more symphonic. I think Septicflesh focus a bit more on the symphony and choir than Fleshgod do. I like headbanging to breakdowns with orchestras. It's just fun, okay? Their album Anubis was fucking amazing. And they have a live concert on DVD and on YouTube of them performing their epic death metal with a full-on orchestra. That is what I want to see. I've seen this band live a bunch of times and they're always fucking killer, but to see them with that type of orchestra would be so cool. I could not recommend this band enough. Number 2, Crypta. Fans of this channel will know that I hype this band a lot. Crypta is a band I've been super stoked on ever since they came about. A young, all-female Brazilian death metal band with the skill and devotion of passionate fans and musicians that it takes for them to be a band that truly stands out on their own. They're not a band that uses their sexuality to get ahead in any type of way. They're a band of fucking awesome musicians who make badass death metal, who all happen to be very attractive. But what I love about this band is you really feel the passion and energy from them. If you get to see them live, they look thrilled to be up there. They are headbanging, they're engaging with the crowd. They look like they're excited to get on stage and have fun. I thought it was so refreshing seeing Crypta playing a headline show with a passionate band and passionate fans just losing their minds to fucking brutal death metal. Fernanda's vocals are great too. I really liked her in Nervosa, but with Crypta, she focuses a bit more on her lower false chord vocals, but I also think she's one of the best fry screamers out there. Crypta make it so high on this list, 1, because of how great their music is, but 2, because they make me excited for metal again. To have a band that you can tell is excited and grateful to be on stage and to be recording music really makes all the difference. And last but certainly not least on the 20 best current metal bands, number 1, Kanonenfieber. I like metal that makes you feel like you're at war, and Kanonenfieber is the perfect band for that. Think of sort of a black metal Rammstein. This German black metal band's theme is entirely World War I, if you couldn't tell by the pointy helmets. Imagine one of them trips off stage and impales someone in the crowd with that. When I first heard this band, it was the first time in a while that I can remember where I was very quickly, instantly blown away. This band is the perfect soundtrack to riding a horse into battle against a tank in the trenches of the Ottoman Empire. I'm a history buff, I'm a war buff, I'm a metal buff. I love bands with big, exciting stage shows with a lot of explosions. And Kanonenfieber is not just an extreme band to see live, they are an entire historical experience. This band was only founded in 2020 and is already making a massive impression on the metal scene. You could say they've been relentlessly marching across borders. Instantly when that first song hits, you're just transported straight into war. I have not gotten to see this band live yet, but whenever I watch their live footage or or listen to them, oh, it sends fucking chills down my spine. And see, not all masked metal bands out there make whiny dog shit poppin' R&B music. Kanonenfieber is the sound of fucking war, and their lyrics are based on letters written by soldiers who were in the war. Get out of the way, Sabaton, we have a better historical band take. And that is my list of the 20 best current metal bands. Remember, this is my personal list, and it's not every current band that I like, it's just the ones I find myself repeatedly listening to and getting the most excited for. So are any of these bands your favorites, or do you think this entire list is dog shit? Am I a true elite metalhead, or am I just a poser? Be sure to yell at me and let me know your favorite bands in the comments below. For more from me, check out my band Dark Insanity. You can find our debut EP, Rabid Psychosis, available now on all streaming platforms. September 20th, we have the Bleed for the Cause show coming up. Enjoy some awesome death metal and wrestling, all for a good cause. And October 16th, we are playing with Carnivore AD at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood. Hit up me or the band for tickets. We've got Wyatt's Metal and Dark Insanity merch available now in my shop. We've also got hoodies, hats, buttons, stickers. We even have Dark Insanity weed bags. Link is in the description of this video. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.